All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here as we come to you on this Wednesday evening, 8:20 p.m. now. Had a little bit of weather here that we're kind of talking about, so some stronger storms that have moved across the area, but it is a little more isolated in nature. We want to just take you right back into the radar, kind of show you a couple things here. I'm going to show you one storm that we have been monitoring. It's a storm that's actually coming right into Decatur that has been showing some rotation associated with it, albeit weak, but it is something that we are keeping an eye on. So if you're in Decatur right now, storm is coming in there on the northwest side, just crossed over I-72 and is going to be coming over the downtown area here in the next few minutes. And that storm has had, like I said, some rotation with it. And the reason that we're on here kind of talking to you about this is because earlier, a storm that was over here near Arcola, southwest of Arcola, and you can see right now there's nothing going on. You may have got a notification earlier of a tornado warning. I'm going to take the radar back. This is backing it up to around 7:30 p.m. when there was a storm southwest of Arcola, kind of northwest of Humboldt there, where a storm chaser was actually out there and they spotted a brief touchdown of a tornado. Hence the tornado warning that did get issued from the National Weather Service in Lincoln. And we have seen some photos of this that did occur. Again, it was around 7:30 p.m., but it was brief. It didn't last long. It touched down and then popped back up. But there was photographic evidence of this occurring down there earlier. So that storm that was down there now, we'll take you back. You can see the storm that was there is now, I mean, it's all the way up into southeastern portions of Champaign County now. Now, it's not showing the same kind of signs of rotation with it. And there actually are some stronger storms than the ones that we talked about off the top here, right along I-72 and coming right into Decatur right now. On the northwest side there, going to be coming over 51. North-south route there, right through downtown, and right over 36 there as well. So you're kind of seeing the higher intensifications. I want to stress to you, there are actually no warnings with any of this, but we wanted to just do a solid by coming on and letting you guys know kind of what we've got, because it was kind of a unique situation. Not exactly the most primed atmosphere to get tornadic circulations, but certainly not zero. And we've got some ingredients there that have allowed for at least one tornado to occur here. Now, these are very brief and weak tornadoes, but they have been spotted here tonight with that one little cell. I will admit that it is a little strange. It's not completely out, it's not, never happened before kind of thing. We get some of these almost maybe once a year where it's kind of like, whoa, that storm on radar actually spawned a tornado. And in this case, it looks like it did. Here's the good news. We've not heard any reports of any damage with any of it. Again, that was a storm that was over near Arcola earlier. There's no threat now with any of those storms there. As you can see, it's a lot quieter. But we're just keeping an eye on, just because of, well, the scenario that played out about an hour ago of, well, you know what? Let's just watch these storms here. They've got what we call kind of a low cloud base, which basically means that the cloud is already pretty low to the ground, that it won't take much for, if you get some circulation to maybe get a little bit of a funnel to form and produce a tornado. And that obviously is what occurred a little bit earlier. Now, we don't have permission yet to show the photos from the storm chaser that was out there that actually caught the tornado. We're going to maybe effort that, or maybe try to get some photos. Maybe somebody sends us something. We have to get permission to be able to show that to you. But there is definitely something out there, and we have that. Meteorologist Jacob Dickey's in here with us here too. And Jacob, these storms here, they don't look that impressive on radar. At least definitely the one earlier didn't. I mean, this one looks way more impressive, and we're not getting kind of the same thing that happened before, but it just goes to show you just never know here in Central Illinois.
Yeah, you're right about that, Kevin. I was getting ready to go get some dinner. And,
Same here.
Text pull in here. Kind of looking at some of these parameters out there. I mean, this is a pretty terrible looking atmosphere as far as it goes. There's not a lot of ingredients to work with. It's just one of those little accidents. Perhaps there was maybe a little boundary left over, just a little bit of instability pocketed right there. That's why we've got that level 1 marginal risk for the day today, because occasionally it doesn't mean it's zero risk, but it means maybe level 1, something could happen, and that did here.
Yeah. I mean, we got that graphic up there now, so that's the 1 to 5 scale, the marginal risk there. it's hardly anything, but it's
And I think even too, you get down to it with the Storm Prediction Center. I don't even think they had a risk for tornadoes in that marginal risk. This was a hail-driven risk for Central Illinois.
Yeah.
So we're watching, we're keeping an eye on it. I don't know, Kevin, if we can pull the Decatur camera up, just show folks that
Yeah.
we're looking there. Nice view. We love our Flooring America iNet camera. This one here about Carriage Crossings in Decatur. It's great to give us a view in towns. We've been watching to see if anything would happen. There were some light rain curtains. Of course, that one's sitting in downtown. And there's been absolutely zero lightning.
Yeah.
No lightning.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, oh, let's pull up the camera, and then I was like, oh no, it's dark. Now we won't be able to see the structure to the clouds. So then you rely upon lightning to hopefully get you something. But there's no lightning, so you can't even light up the clouds with lightning. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate there. But there's a storm that's literally coming through right now. We're just kind of panning the camera around here a little bit. You can see the raindrops there that are on the screen. Again, I want to stress there isn't a warning. Nothing like that. But just given the scenario that just played out an hour ago, we're just kind of erring on the side of caution and want to give people a heads up, just in case, and we'd be on here letting people know. So that's kind of the status of things here right now. The Weather Service hasn't said a whole lot. As a matter of fact, the tornado warning was issued around 7:41, and it was canceled at 7:49. It lasted 8 minutes before they canceled the thing. A pretty short-lived tornado warning again. Strange, but especially given that the atmosphere is not necessarily primed for it. But we had this happen before. Me and Jack Gerfen, there was one time we were looking up towards Rantoul, and Jacob, weren't you even around? Weren't you around for that one too?
Yeah, I happened to be visiting my parents in that little Thomas Bro Gifford. It was an EF1 that spun up. Was that July, August?
Yeah, it was like the middle of summer.
The only hint that you had there was that the observation site at Willard Airport had a southeast wind, and that was it. The only clue that you had that maybe something would spin up. So I was sitting in Gibson, kind of looking, thinking, oh, what's going on? Slid off to the east and ended up seeing it myself. And I ended up at the station that night visiting y'all. I was in town from Mississippi down there.
We couldn't believe it. We were like, what?
Well, yeah, what are you doing here? But these kind of nights, it's like, okay, this is a night, Kevin. I spent 3 years down in Mississippi doing television. This is the kind of night that reminds me of Mississippi, where you have these very weak, transient rotations embedded in rain. They're brief, they spin up quick and go away quick. Maybe a much lesser threat than what we saw down there, but it's just more where, Kevin, you like to send Jack or myself out in the Storm Tracker. If we were out in the Storm Tracker tonight, we would see absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you couldn't see anything until it would be on top of you.
Yeah, so
I mean, just the fact that Storm Chaser earlier had daylight, barely had it, but definitely. And supposedly he's got some video. We'll see if we can, try to track that down to get some of that from. I don't know. But there's definitely, we've seen it for ourselves. And actually, I shared his tweet on my Facebook page, and so did Jacob. So if you want to see the photos, it's just from a copyright standpoint, we can't officially share that until he gives us permission. But you can go on the Twitter page or on our pages where we shared that and see that for yourselves.
Yeah. Now, kind of looking down the way, Kevin, kind of peeking in Christian County a little bit, you kind of get a little bit of a sideways V, which to me maybe is an indication there's just a little bit of weak rotation there too, and perhaps there's just enough shear in the atmosphere where this is going to turn into a night, Kevin, where right now we have no warnings, but we just may have to babysit all night and watch things here. You've just got these little bitty cells that are there and tapping into just enough instability, just enough of the wind shear in the atmosphere where, the threat is pretty next to nothing. In fact, that storm chaser that saw the Arcolas tornado, again, no warnings in effect now, and that was earlier, he described it not only as weak, he said very weak.
Yeah.
So this is the type of night where, this is not a classic April severe weather event that Central Illinois is known for at all. This is one of those nuisance, something pops, we're here and watching, but we really don't expect anything to. We just got to keep some babysitting around more than anything, Kevin. I think that's the safe way to say it. So we've got folks that are on the chat that are saying what they're watching. We talked about the rain threat from this, Kevin, overall. You look at the heavy rain where it's been today. There was a bit to the north and quite a bit to the south, and now it's starting to fill into the middle as far as it goes. So we'll keep an eye on things here and keep watching. But in the meantime, mainly rain is all we expect for many folks here. There's not really any lightning.
Yeah, so I just pulled up the light. There's been one lightning strike there.
There
you
it
see
is.
the one, just east of Forsyth. But out of everything on the radar, I'm not seeing any other lightning strikes. So that's pretty weak there. and does not allow us to, be able to see structure in any of the clouds in case there was something there. But
It's crazy, Kevin. As I was on that street on the Decatur camera a week ago with snow coming down, and now we're
Yes.
dealing with these.
you were driving in Decatur and it was snowing, and now, yeah. So no, I've seen some questions here. There are no warnings in effect right now. There are no warnings. We had one earlier, again near southwest of Arcola, there into Douglas County, but there are no warnings right now. We're just kind of doing, coming on here to give people a heads up. I know there's some questions. People going, okay, what was that? I was also told that even down in Douglas County that the sirens were not sounded down there, that they didn't hear them going off. And that is not a huge surprise. If there is somebody that has to manually go and turn those on, they may have not have been accounting for this extreme low possibility of this occurring. So you could potentially see that happening, But yeah, the weather here, it just goes to show, you just never know around here what you're going to get. So again, here's kind of the wider view of things. And I'll put just in motion a 45-minute loop to get you an idea of kind of where things are going. And you can kind of see what we've got. Essentially, everything kind of moving off here to the north and to the east. And so it's kind of crazy. The storms we had earlier that prompted that warning are the ones that are like now coming into Vermilion County now. And you can see how weak those are. And then we're looking at this batch that's back here into Macon County and Christian County that continue to lift off to the north and east. And then actually the strongest stuff on radar signature would be the stuff way down here, basically north of Jacksonville and southwest of Peoria and west of Lincoln. I mean, that right there looks to be the strongest of anything. So we're just going to kind of monitor this area that you're seeing right there. Nothing severe, no warnings right now, but of course, we like to be able to tell you guys what's going on and keep you up to date on any potential severe weather. And that's just coming through Decatur on the northeast side now. Now you're getting up towards Forsyth, and then it's going to be actually heading towards the Oriena area as it's right along hugging 72. But Oriena, you're going to start to get some of that heavier rainfall there, and then things going to ride just right along the interstate. So again, nothing severe, but hey, some heavy rainfall and some interesting weather, to say the least, with what is one of the shorter tornado warnings I've seen in a while, 8-minute tornado warning that actually did spawn a tornado. And that's the funny thing, not funny thing, but that's the interesting thing about it. This thing actually produced a tornado, yet there was still only a warning for 8 minutes. That's rare to have. But like you said, the storm chaser did stress that it was a very weak tornado. It did not last very long, but hey, he captured it, and sure enough, it was. So it looks like it was also in an open field. This was, again, in Douglas County, southwest of Arcola, kind of northwest of Humboldt is where you actually saw that. No damage from what we can see, brief touchdown. So that's some good news there. But we're just going to keep watching these storms. Like we said, kind of babysit them for you. It's kind of what we do. That's how we pride ourselves on doing our weather coverage for you guys, is to keep you guys up to date no matter what's going on, and informing you guys so that you know what's happening. Jacob, you find anything else out or anything?
I want to turn the camera just to the north a little bit. That little area of rotation is going to be just to the east of the Walmart Supercenter on 51 North on Main Street. And I'm trying to pull this up here, I don't know why. But what I want to do is maybe some of the lights up there when you get towards the interstate are showing a little bit more. And I think what we're looking now is we're kind of looking a little more to the south and west, perhaps, with that one, because that looks like the building downtown there.
Yes.
And the streets. So I think we want to give it a little whirl around. I'm going to turn it here.
Turn it, turn to the right there.
Oop, there we go, maybe. And I think we'll pull that up here real quick and kind of do a 180, because here we are looking over downtown, and the lights there. So I want to say it should be in maybe this journal. I'm trying to pick it out on my small screen to turn the cameras, and then picture it out here, and maybe we'll do a little focus and try and see if we see. It's dark. Surprise, surprise. We're not seeing much of anything here, and even with those raindrops in the lens, it's just a little bit of a focus issue. We'll just kind of keep spinning it and see if there's any evidence of all. And normally, Kevin, we'd have some nice instability and some lightning, and we'd be able to see things, but
yeah, sure can't see hardly anything at all.
Yeah, so we're just kind of watching and waiting here. I think we're now back looking to the west there, a little bit, but again, I gotta
See those lights off in the distance.
Yeah, so we're just kind of playing the game. That's the nice thing about this is we at least have some eyes indicated that can kind of keep an eye on it. And if something did touch down, Kevin, what we would look for...
Power flashes.
That's exactly right. We'd be looking for little blue flashes down near to the ground, and that's nothing that we've seen. So, I want to say now there's the cell tower. I'm trying to see here what we're peeking at. So we'll just readjust and refocus and spin it around and take a peek here. So, you're not really seeing much.
Yeah.
So that's just what we're going to be playing here for a while as far as it goes. And we may not have anything more tonight, Kevin. This is...
Hopefully not. We're going to
I say
check
that.
the instability levels here. What do we even have instability-wise? Let me see what we got. I mean...
there's like a pocket, here and there probably where we had maybe a little sunshine peek through, but this isn't some big time, everything looks great and classic and it's, coming together for what we're seeing as one of those more accidental features and whatnot. So kind of looking, Kevin, around the area, we focused a lot on Macon County now. Of course, there's not a whole lot out there, but I'm kind of just keeping my eye down the line
Christian
as well.
County.
From Christian
Southwest
County,
of it,
down to that line from Mount Auburn towards Edinburgh, north of Taylorville. It looks like what radar shows is there's just some shear in there, so perhaps we might have to watch maybe another little area to the west of Harristown that would move to the north towards Lawrenceburg, based on what I'm kind of observing here. And I tell you what, that's about as weak rotation as I've seen, but it still maybe is just a little. And even with some of those cells back to the north and west here, maybe there's just enough shear in the atmosphere where Mason County, that's north of Petersburg, up towards Havana and Forest City, maybe something up there tries. But again, the National Weather Service has been pretty quiet, and I'd like to say no news is good news, but in these types of events where things are so weak and borderline, there's no watch today. Don't think we needed one at all. There's no severe thunderstorm warnings. Sometimes we get those first before we get tornado warnings. This just happened down by Arcola where right place, right time, someone spotted it and they pulled an 8-minute tornado warning on that. And that happens sometimes here with these very marginal events. Last night in Oklahoma, they were dealing with some of these rain-wrapped little features. And down there, one spun up to put down a fairly decent-sized tornado. I don't think that's going to happen here, but it's just kind of something where we got to watch and keep our eyes on it here. So we're keeping an eye there. Again, you're looking at radar in Christian County where we'll watch. Again, the lightning slim to none here. In fact, we had one strike earlier in that Decatur storm, and I had my eyes on the Decatur camera, that Carriage Crossing Flooring America INET camera. Didn't see it. Haven't been seeing any power flashes. All the lights still look like they're on there. In fact, I'll do a quick check from our power outages and see if there's any numbers, and I'm going to bet there's not. If anything, and so we'll watch. I say that actually, Kevin, there's about 450 customers out in Sangamon, 274 in Christian County, 200 in Macon County. And the ones in Macon County are Ameren, so let me just double check with Ameren real quick and see if I can see where those are. But even as weak as these little circulations be, they may not be related to these storms. There's really not a lot of wind damage that would occur with these. Just have to be one of those right place, right time type of events here. So we'll keep an eye on it and keep watching, and we're just hanging out online here, of course, in between the shows. We've got the show at 9 o'clock, the show at 10 o'clock. Kevin's going to be in here and having an update to the forecast, which, Kevin, I think looks a lot better moving forward. This weekend, I hear.
Yeah, the weekend.
I hear you've given me a great week.
You don't have to do hardly any work this weekend. You don't have to worry about forecasting snow or any storms. You're going to love it.
Yeah. Okay. Just I would say this too, Kevin. I may have to return the favor for it. Seems like I've given you a lot Monday through Friday from the weekends this while bit. So there's that. All right. Here's an update from Ameren. Ameren actually has a report of 921 customers without service, and they have that centered in the Mount Auburn area. So that'd be Illiopolis, Niantic, Harristown, Mount Auburn, in that part of Christian, Macon County, and some of those would extend into Sangamon County. That'd probably be Mechanicsburg. Down towards areas east of Rochester. Pretty rural area out there. You've got County Highway 2, where that's reported from, along the Sangamon River. So maybe something happened. If there's anyone in the chat in those areas that are reporting, hey, I've got power out. Let us know. And Kevin, if we go back in that circulation, you kind of look at it early on, when that circulation that we were that weak circulation, I want to preempt that every time to say weak. early on, that kind of looked like it originated in that area. So what I'm going to do, Kevin, is I'm going to run back and tell News real quick and see if they can get any info from Ameren about an outage in Mount Auburn. And then, but yeah, you kind of
look at that thing.
kind of close-ish, maybe. You know, it doesn't have to be. I'll be totally honest. It doesn't have to be anything. That outage report was at 8 o'clock, and it doesn't have to be even weather related. I mean, you know, car hits a power line, or you know, old line rotted out. Who knows?
Well, you can definitely see that on this. Like, watch this area right here, and then it's going to track right through here. I'm gonna play this out, what this looked like, and we always try to look for the rotation here with these reds and greens. You'll see on the next scan, you're going to start to see some of those pop up some more. We're right next to one another, right there, along I-72, and so maybe they're on the west side of town, Harristown, that area. I mean, you definitely had some rotation that was there that went through on the northwest side of town and has now weakened. But that's kind of the nature of these quick little spin-up storms here. And good news is no warnings right now and no immediate threat, but we're still watching these storms. I mean, there's a pretty good little cell. It's down there just west of Stonington. I wonder if there's any lightning on that one there, because that one looks a little bit better. No, not even any lightning on that one. Wow, no lightning tonight.
You know, I keep watching, Kevin. I keep watching that little area over Niantic Harrodstown more than anything. That's the one that has my line. You know, it looks like a mess on there on Storm Tracker Doppler. But if you hop over to some of our velocity notes from looking at my app on the phone, and it's just kind of got the same beginning look of that earlier one, where you see some of that red. What we're looking at in velocity mode is the red goes away from the radar, the green goes towards. And we're looking for winds that are kind of next to each other. The radar is up there in Lincoln, off to the north and northwest. So some of that red moving more south-southeast is trying to maybe surge around. And, you know, it's not a lot, but it's one of those first signs we look for. Some of those values maybe get ever so strong. And I say stronger. I mean, we're talking, you know, radar indicated that those darkest red pixels.
Yeah, I mean, 20 miles, 25 miles an hour there, so not super strong, but we look at those and we watch the evolution of those and we see if they get stronger, we see if they get tighter, closer together, indicating rotation. But yeah, I mean, that's the area right now that you would look at. So it looks like this when you just look at it on the regular radar view. But, you know, something in there sometimes can be embedded, and that's why we have the radar, to be able to see what's going on with the winds, because that'll tell you if there is some of that rotation that's happening. But there's definitely not any lightning that's happening with this. I mean, I turned the lightning on, nothing there. The other thing that we look for would be what we call our debris tracker here, to see if there'd be a lowering of basically our signal from the radar. It's telling us, hey, I'm not a raindrop, I might be something else, and we're not seeing that. But that is one of the tools that we definitely use. But yeah, we'll be just kind of watching the radar here to see if there can be any more intensification. And another quick little spin up, just because we had one earlier, so it's definitely possible we could have another one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's going to happen, Kevin, is we're just going to have to watch these little areas every now and then and keep our eyes on them. But that's what we'll do here is, as you look at weather here, we're going to keep an eye on these little spots and stick around and hang out. For most of us today, it's just been some rain and clouds out there, and for a farmer in Arcola Humboldt area,
Yeah.
one of his fields got a little.
One of his fields, yeah. Hopefully he didn't. He just plant and everything.
This isn't even anything where we don't even have cows today, Kevin.
Yeah.
But just these little bitty spots here. So what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on it and whatnot. I let news know about those power outages and keep an eye and reaching out to see if we can get any video from that. As little as these signatures are, and we have one.
Yeah. So this is back right about the time that storm chaser had something, and so here's what we're gonna do. We want to actually switch back on the velocity here and just kind of go back and see. Okay, so 709. So this is going back to the Douglas County tornado warning storm. So we're kind of seeing some stuff going on over here. That's 7:09. According to the timestamp on the photo that we saw earlier, he had something around 7:30. So we're going to step this through. That's 7:16, 7:18. So there again is, you got some of these reds and greens getting closer to one another. It's 7:21 p.m. Let's step it even further now. We'll go another minute or two. So 7:25, 7:26, 7:29, which would be around the time. So again, not super strong, but I mean, yeah, some rotation there. So then we'll step it forward another minute or so, and this is about the time he talked about, and I think he said in his report Coles Mill. I think he must have meant Cook's Mills. I think he on that Twitter post of his.
Yeah, one of them says west of Humboldt, so I think that's.
Yeah, yeah. Coles Station, or did he mean Cook's Mills? I don't know. I guess, yeah, Coles Station, I guess, is over there too. But definitely there on the radar, you can see just near Cook's Mills, you've got that. Okay, so then you step forward, 7:32. You're still looking at some of those reds and greens next to one another, and then as it comes actually up into Arcola, still have something there, and then maybe kind of losing a little bit of that definition to that. But so that was the time when maybe we had that brief touchdown. So this is kind of looking back at the radar velocity mode. But what's wild about this is looking at what it looks like on the typical radar view that you see. So you got some reds in there and whatnot. 7:19, 7:22. Not your typical big blob of wild and crazy colors and a hook echo. Very weak. We call low-topped, little supercell there. I hesitate to even call it a supercell, but little guy that kind of came through there and then weakened as it kind of moved through Arcola. But so there was definitely something there at one point. Good news is we haven't had any damage, but that's just kind of a little bit of a radar analysis of what we had earlier. And now we take you back to the current view. That's a current view of the radar, and where we are watching some of the stuff down here into Christian County and then heading right up 48, which comes right into Decatur there. We're watching our little cells. Let's switch back to velocity. It's there. So this was the stuff near Harristown. Still not looking all that impressive, but still some of those reds and greens that we're watching. And still nothing from the weather service about much either.
They're quiet. Maybe they're going to stay quiet the rest of that. It's going to be the best thing for all of us. So I don't have to do anything more. But there you see that little Harristown signature, that red surging out ever so slightly. I wonder today, Kevin, if we had a little more sunshine, what this would amount to more than anything.
Yeah, it was definitely overcast, obviously, all day. I mean, it was muggy and moist, and kind of almost felt almost humid at times today. And so we definitely had the moisture there, and just the characteristics of some of these cloud bases being as low to the ground as they were. But it's it's possible if just the right set of circumstances come up. And here's the wild thing about this too is you've got the fact that you had this storm chaser that just so happened to be placed at the perfect time at the perfect moment and captured this, where had he not been in that spot, this would have gone unnoticed, unknown, and passed off as just another shower that moved through the area. But he just so happened to be there and had the set of eyes on it, which prompted the warning. And sometimes right place at the right time, because I can guarantee you that even this guy, the storm chaser, did catch this. Probably even was like, I don't know, I'm just going to go out, watch some storms, and
Yeah, I should have done that today, Kevin.
Yeah, I was going to say, why isn't this you? What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, and hanging out and at home, watching Netflix and doing whatever, doing laundry, and then went for dinner and got that text. And it's like, oh.
Tornado warning. Yeah. Even I kind of thought it was a possible misfire, but I was like, well, no, okay, here we go.
I will say, Kevin, real quick, the camera indicator, what building is that on top of downtown? Do you know which building it is?
Yes. Or
if it's close to, it's...
Hold on here.
Because I know it's looking down and you were able to see...
Yeah, hold on here. Let me pull it up here.
I want to say it's looking west from downtown now because I recognize the. I think it was.
So we're on that. It's a.
There, the historic district. You can see that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like the bank.
The Regions Bank.
I'm pretty sure.
Is that on Water and William there? Is that?
I think so.
Because I know to the south, and you could see. So we're looking to the a little more west now on that camera, which is fine. We'd be watching towards Harristown based on that. So I just wanted to kind of get my bearings straight on that and make sure I was looking in the right area. But again, dark, nothing. At this point, if something touched down, and that's a big if, I think the only way you'd be able to tell at this time of night is if you get a power line to go down somewhere, and that's just going to have to be the more chance than anything. So we'll keep an eye on it as far as it goes. But pretty much for us here tonight, we're thinking it's going to stay quiet. But if it doesn't, we'll be here and watching. The odds of a damaging tornado tonight are pretty dang low, almost zero, I'd say. These are the types of events. I don't want to say they're land spouts, but we think of the strength of a land spout. That's 40, 50 miles an hour. Those form differently than these do. This is still something in the sky rotating a little bit. But as we watch it, it would be very brief, very weak, little concern this time of night where, if there's a warning, we still want you to do what we need to, but the threat tonight is pretty low as can be. So we'll continue to watch and keep our eyes on it here and monitor. We've got news that's following up with those power outage reports. In the meantime, if you want to check in at the 9 o'clock news in WCIX, you can flip over there. We'll have that coming on in about 8 minutes or so. They have the full forecast from Kevin. And then we'll be kind of watching and waiting and seeing if anything happens. More than likely, for a vast majority of central Illinois, tonight remains quiet. In the rare occasion that something does slip, something spins up just enough to qualify for a warning, we'll let you know. We send those alerts out. Those alerts go out automatically through our app. If you don't have our app, the WCIA3 weather app, that's what you want to have downloaded, as that's the greatest way to get alerts and know once a warning's issued. We send that alert, the flip of a switch, essentially. Warning's issued, boom, you get it on that, and then we'll update as needed on social, TV, and other places like that, because we always want you to look for a second place to get severe weather information. That app is one. Another one might be a weather radio. Had a few folks say they heard it on the radio stations, and their weather radio down in Douglas County. And let's say this happened in the middle of the night, and it was a little bit different situation, like down in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. We'll be here on standby, and we'd be ready for it and watching. So we're going to keep our eyes here in the meantime, Kevin. I think, Kevin, you're wanting us to probably wrap up here. So we'll end the fun on Facebook, I suppose you could say, for lack of better terms.
Yep.
And call it a night, hopefully for good. But if not, Kevin, I think you and maybe even me too will be here watching.
Yep, we'll keep watching the stuff for you, and we'll have more coming up here at 9 o'clock. So stick around and tune in there. And if any other warnings pop in, of course, we'll let you know. So thanks for joining us here tonight, and we'll keep you up to date.